Thank you so much for your company. Now, 6 lives have been claimed in the Mamprugu Muaduri floods. Also, the regional capital, that's the northeast regional capital, Nalerugu, has also been flooded. That's the latest in almost 1 week spillage of the Bagri Dam, which is compounded by continuous downpour. A number of communities have been cut off, making it difficult for NADMO officials to reach affected victims. There's more in the following report.
Information available to Joy News indicates the spillage is still ongoing and the rains are compounding the floods brought on by the excess water being let out from the dam. According to Northeast Regional Correspondent, it is unclear when the spillage will be over. 2 adults have been confirmed dead in the floods after they went via canoe to salvage their farm produce. In an interview with Joy News Sunday afternoon, Northeast Regional NADMO Director John Kweku Al-Hassan indicated that some roads leading to affected communities have been cut off, making it difficult to reach affected persons.
We have about some communities, about 14 communities have their farmlands submerged in water.
Okay.
These communities are Kukwa, Zanlo, Primasto, Uyima, Kosibi, Sisi, Loari, Kuba, Sakwawa, and then other areas. So they have their farmlands submerged in water. Yesterday,
yes,
our men on the ground reported that we lost 2 other persons in the Mamprugu Maduri area.
Yeah.
Because they tried to use canoes to harvest their maize. The car is just around, has just left Walwale and they are on their way to the region.
Okay.
So we are just waiting for the car to come and then we'll start the distribution.
Okay.
Mr. Al-Hassan has meanwhile called on NGOs and other benevolent organizations to help provide relief items to the residents affected.
NADMO has mobilized some resources, some relief items for us to support the victims. And you know, the government has a huge responsibility, so that will not be enough for the people.
Okay.
And so we are calling for other development partners if they can come to the aid of the people.
Over 100 people across the region are said to have lost their homes and properties, including farmland. 4 people lost their lives Saturday morning.
Let's now connect with regional correspondent Ilyasu Tanko. He's a man. And for more on this incident in the northeast region. Hello, Ilyasu. So we've heard from NADMO that some communities have been cut off. But tell us the extent of flooding at Nalerugu.
Well, as we speak, we understand there's still some rains in the regional capital. A large part of the regional capital are flooded. We have seen some images given to us by the regional NADMO service there, and it shows that some houses are currently sitting in water. We are also getting reports from local, the locals, residents in the area, saying that some houses have been damaged. And like I said, it's still raining, and so we still cannot say exact damage that has been caused by this flooding that just got there this morning, Benny.
All right, Ilyasu, we've been told in a release by NADMO some few weeks ago, in the first week of August, of this spillage, and residents were warned to leave the area, evacuate. These persons who have died, do we know exactly why they couldn't leave the area? What details are you picking up?
Well, the first death, as we understand from NADMO, happened in the Bunkurugu township, and it involved a 7-year-old girl, a 3-year-old girl, of course, and then a 49-year-old man in another village in the Bunkurugu district. What we understand is that the little girl left to play with her friends and decided to go back home after the rain subsided. Unfortunately, she was knocked down by the flood, and her body was later found in a nearby pit. And what we also know is that this 49-year-old man had also gone to a village to attend a funeral of a relative. On his way back, he was drowned in the water. And also in the East Mamprusi district, precisely in the Langvinsi community, we understand one person also lost his life. And also in Janga, which is in the West Mamprusi municipality, another person also lost his life. And on only Saturday evening, according to the NADMO service here, 2 persons also went to their farm with a small canoe to harvest in their maize field. Unfortunately, the canoe capsized and they were drowned their body were also later found by local search parties in the area, and they were subsequently buried.
So, Ilyasu, is it that the residents just didn't heed the alert from NADMO, or is it that they just don't have anywhere to relocate to?
Well, what I've been picking up from the community members is that most of them are telling me that they did not get the information from the red notice from the National Disaster Management Organization because of somehow how where their communities are found. We understand the NADMO could not reach their communities to give them this information. For instance, there are several communities in the West Mamprusi municipality that are telling me that they did not get any public education or sensitization from the NADMO. And I visited the NADMO when this exercise started, and they had to go and beg a vehicle from the information service to go and do this sensitization and public education. And so, of course, many people are saying that they did not get the information from the NADMO service in the region here.
Ilyasu, you mentioned earlier it's still raining. What are the authorities saying? Are we expecting the rains to subside, or we should expect more?
Well, as I said this morning, there are still rains, especially in the regional capital and some parts of the Chereponi district. And we also do know that currently there is no any emergency aid plan for the victims and the residents who are trapped. And because the rains are still raining, the rains are still coming, NADMO officials are not able to assess these communities to, give them or respond or, assess the state of damage. But we understand that the rains will still come.
Thank you very much. Ilyasu Tanko is a man that will be coming to you in subsequent bulletins for an update on this flooding situation in the Northeast region. Let me now speak to the regional NADMO coordinator in the Northeast region, John Kweku Al-Hassan. Thank you so much for your time here, sir. So we understand that some of the affected residents are saying they could not or they did not get the alert you sent out for them to evacuate their communities. Now some of them are trapped. So what's the plan? How do we prevent more deaths?
It's to hear that they are saying that they didn't get the alert because we use the radio stations. The Director General himself was in town. We engaged opinion leaders, the chiefs, and the information really went down well because the local FM stations are everywhere. So if they are saying that they didn't get the alert, then I don't know. I'm surprised to hear this.
Okay, we have a current situation. It's still raining. What is the meteo telling you? Are they able to predict what will happen in the next few days with regards to the rains?
Well, I will not be able to speak that because these are natural disasters, and then I will not be able to speak.
No, I'm only asking because as a disaster management organization, I just want to assume that you are in touch with the meteo because yes, the rains are...
They have been giving us the updates.
Okay.
But we are hoping that maybe in the next few days to come, things will be okay.
How many communities have been cut off? Are you able to tell us?
Yes, I can give you the figures.
Okay.
In the Mamprugu Madu district, about 14 communities have their farmlands submerged in water. And these communities are Kukwa, Zanlo, Prima, Su, Woyima, Kobi, Tisi, Loari, Kuba, and then many others. Then when you go to the Chereponi area, those who farm along the Oti River, about 15 communities have their farmlands submerged in water. You come to the Mamprugu, East Mamprusi municipality, we have 12 communities. Communities like Namasem, Zarantinga, Yiyoyaro Yiri, and many others. When you go to Waliwale, that's West Mamprusi municipality.
Right.
We have 12 communities today.
So, sorry, I had to cut in. I just want to find out from you: are the residents still in the communities that have the farmland submerged?
Yes, they are in the communities.
Why haven't they been evacuated?
The communities are sited on a highland, so the communities themselves are not affected. It's
okay, so the farmlands are below. Okay, that's the yes. clarification that I wanted. Exactly. Yes. All right, so you're just giving us statistics of the communities that have been cut off, and we've also been talking about what to expect in the next few days. But yes. Let me just find out from you, have you been able to support those who've been affected so far?
Yeah, the relief items arrived yesterday in the evening. So we are currently in the office trying to work out things, and then we'll go and support those who have been affected.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. John Kwekwel Hassan is Northeast NADMO Regional Director. But let me just bring you an update on our COVID case. 6 positive cases of COVID-19 have been recorded at the Kotoka International Airport since it was reopened to international traffic last week. This is as of the evening of Sunday, 6th September 2020. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy disclosed this when he spoke to MF Apau on the lockdown show Sunday night. He joins us for more on this. Thank you so much. Just a quick one to that interview you had last night. So the persons who've tested positive, where are they now?
Thank you. Good morning to your listeners or viewers, eh?
Viewers, yes.
All right, okay. So what's happening is that we have some protocols for health management at the airport.
Okay.
Which involves or includes the COVID-19 testing. Now, when you pick a case that is positive, usually the fellow who is positive, by the time you get to airport health, the port health desk, your results will be on their system. So if you are positive, what we do is that you are shepherded through immigration quietly, and then you are taken to a holding room, which you have at the airport. It's like a provisional isolation center.
Mm-hmm.
So at the holding room, your examination is done just to put you in a category of either in a critical state, that's red, in a mild state, that's in a moderate state, that is yellow, or in a mild state, that is green. That's tragic. Now, that is done quickly. Whichever category it belongs to, you are taken straight to our isolation center, the state one, at the Pentecost Convention Center.
Okay.
Now, if the fellow has comorbidities, comorbidities like heart disease, kidney disease, liver
hypertension, diabetes,
yes, increases your risk of getting a complication or even death.
Mm-hmm.
So once there's a comorbidity, usually as part of the protocols, you have to go to Ga East so that at least we observe you for some time and be sure that your life is not at risk. So after the assessment, we then decide whether you are kept in isolation at the Pentecost Convention Center or you are kept under treatment or observation at the Ga East Hospital, or if there's no risk, you are all okay, then based on where your residential facility is, if it's a place that we can vouch that you are in the house alone, you don't pose risk to anybody, we can have a way of monitoring you 24/7, then there can be the option of doing isolation at home, usually with supervision from the district that is involved. Remember, all these cases are fed into our national system, so we follow you just like we do for others. Yes.
All right. Doc, so who is bearing the cost? I just want to find out if they have to go to the Ga East or have to go to the Pentecost Isolation Center. Who bears the cost of this?
For now, I mean, unless it changes, what I can say confidently is that I have mentioned is that government policy is to take care of everyone who has been confirmed as a COVID case for free in this country.
All right.
In discussing the cost that the traveler will absorb, the only one we mentioned was the testing. As far as I know for now, unless maybe it is reviewed, when they go to the hospitals, we are going to take care of them. Unless maybe the fellow has some medication that they take themselves, which they brought with them, which is not part of our protocol, then they might have to take care of that. But the basic things we do for a COVID person, even if it's ICU, the state would handle this one. Yes.
Doc, clearly these 6 cases we have recorded justifies government's position to have a test even after a PCR test. I'm sure that you feel justified by it, but not in the negative sense. But but there are those who also say your nets have been able to capture those who may have slipped through the first PCR test that they had to bring into the country. But what about those whose viral load may not be that much to be captured and may be let through the net? They are suggesting that let's just do what we did with all those who came in the country initially prior to the closure of the airports. Let's just have all of them observe the 14-day mandatory quarantine. What would you say to that?
I think, there's a lot of impact that can be positive or negative if you have an airport that allows people to move in, go and do what they want to do, and then step out. Asking them to go into 2 weeks quarantine, as we were doing before this arrangement, came with its own challenges and its own, obstruction to all kinds of activity. That is why we went in for this testing regime, which goes into identify the virus itself, like a PCR. Now, the first people we quarantined mandatorily when we started our COVID situation, remember, we picked about 100 plus cases. All these cases were picked with antigen testing or PCR testing, which went to identify the virus. If we had done this test we have now at the airport, I can say that 99% of all those who we caught would have been caught even at the airport without going into the hotel. So what you do as a country or in managing a health situation is to reduce the risk drastically, close to zero. You can't eliminate the risk totally. When I say elimination, you can't say that I get 1,000 passengers and I want to have a foolproof absolute. No. But you go for a measure that can reduce, and when I say reduce, that if there are 100 cases, can pick 99 or all the 100. And that's the kind of regime we have at the airport. Look, there is no, you can never say never in time. Whatever you do, even if we keep them 2 weeks at the hotel, you can have people who are fine, nothing happens, and then some complication will arise. So I think for now, I am happy that you have even mentioned the fact that when we wanted to do the testing here, it was not to create a burden for anybody. It took us just 5 cases of COVID imported into this country to send us to where we had to go on lockdown, where schools must shut down and all that. You can't take that risk. So let's continue to cooperate. Let's encourage those who are part of this process so that our inspiring situation now, as I speak, our total active cases as a country is just about 780 or so cases, less than 800. We want it to continue on the downward trend. The biggest risk to our COVID situation in terms of it getting worse is importation of the virus, the airport. And that is why some of us stand with the president that whatever it takes to catch all those with the virus, we should do it, even if it's 2 cases.
All right.
Only 2 can jeopardize our situation.
Okay, finally and briefly, there were also concerns about importing different strains of the virus than what already exists. Do we know the positive cases we've recorded, are they the same strain we are used to?
So usually, what you are interested in, first of all, is whether the virus is present.
Okay.
You catch it and you are good to go. The second leg, to find the kind of strain, you must usually do a PCR test, which does not only identify the virus, but can give you the sequence of the virus. And another name for PCR is nucleic acid amplification, which is that it gives you a bigger picture. It is the PCR picture sequence that will tell you whether this is the strain that has mutated or changed from the previous. Those are for academic and vaccine development purposes.
Okay.
But for treatment purposes, once you identify a virus, you are good to intervene early. Yes.
Thank you very much for your time this morning, Doc. I appreciate it. Dr. Okoboy is Deputy Health Minister, and we've been talking about the 6 positive cases we've picked up at our airport since it was reopened. But my colleague, Emefa Apau, had a tour of the airport and came through with this.
special edition of Lockdown from the Airport Terminal 3. And today we are getting unfettered access through the process. It's exactly a week ago since the President announced the reopening of the Kotoka International Airport. We are here today to witness it firsthand. And thankfully, we have our special tour guide with us here tonight. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome and introduce yourself to us.
All right, my name is Eric Prempe, Customer Service Manager, Ghana Airports Company Limited.
Okay, so before we begin our tour, what are we to expect?
Okay, basically, this section of the airport is arrival hall. What we are going to do now is to take you through the arrival process. Because as you're aware, there are new protocols now, and as we go through, you see all the new processes that has been introduced as part of ensuring that all passengers' facilitation goes through smoothly.
So since Tuesday, recount to me how it has been since the introduction of these new protocols.
Oh, so far it's been good. It's been more of sensitization because some of the, passengers had no idea about the new measures. So there's been a lot of sensitization. We've done more publicity, and even at the airport, we reinforce it through announcement, and also we have customer service officers on the floor to educate passengers about the new protocols. So I would say so far so good. So before they reach here, there's a customer service person here who will announce to all the passengers on the bridge to ensure that they have all their nose masks on. We have sanitizing stations at the bridge, just at the exit of the bridge, so that passengers will use it to sanitize their hands before they get to the terminal. And also, as you can see, we have social distancing markings on the wall, so that at least we announce to all passengers to observe the 1 meter social distancing. So we board them in badges. So if, let's say, passengers are supposed to disembark on this concourse, as part of the new protocol, all arriving passengers on this level would turn on the left, because they'll have to proceed to the end, to the extreme end, and that is where the bank facility is set up, so that at least they will make payment, and after payment they will proceed to have the COVID test. Whereas previously it was manual, they just give them the cards on board to fill.
How would you say this will help in terms of the contact tracing? How efficient it will be?
Yes, because this system is also integrated with your bank payment and also your testing. So they'll give you codes so that at least it's integrated. So it makes it easier if, let's say, you are tested negative, that makes it visible to even track you. So, and it captures all the necessary details, your passport number, everything, the biodata of the customer. Before you get to Port Health to get your result, they use that same system to even check whether if your results are in. Yeah.
So
all these tablets are internet ready, and if you can zoom in, you can fill it in English or French. So the passenger, yes, after this, they sanitize their hand. That's why we've provided sanitizing stations on my right. Okay, so.
What is going on? What is happening? What is going on?
So do we have people on hand to help anyone?
Yes, anytime flight touches down, we have customer service officers and also some Port Health officials here to assist passengers to complete these forms online. Okay. And also we have, because we have Wi-Fi at the terminal, if this place becomes too occupied, we encourage passengers to connect using their phones through our Wi-Fi, and we give them the website address to connect. And they
MFR Pal, there's more of that video on YouTube on the lockdown show that was aired yesterday. But it's almost 6 months since Ghana recorded its first case of COVID-19. While some have died from the virus, there are many others who've been made helpless. One such person is Mensima, not her real name, who's fled Accra to live in the central region town of Kisi. That's her hometown. She lost her jobs, finds it difficult to pay her rent, and virtually sleeps on an empty stomach every day. On JoyNews Agenda today, correspondent Richard Kotunyako tells her story.
Teaching at the same time, doing some minor jobs that was earning me money to be able to take care of myself and then my child.
Mensima, not her real name, used to live and work happily in Accra. But this was before the arrival of COVID-19. She's lost all her 2 jobs she had to COVID-19.
I was able to survive through what I was earning. And I'm a single mother though, but I was able to take care of my child's needs and myself. See, when you are earning enough, you don't need to struggle in paying rent, taking care of your child's needs, and then other stuff.
A single mother who is unable to meet the city's harsh demands flees to Kisii, a farming community in the central region.
But due to the pandemic, I lost my job, and I don't think I can survive in Accra again, so I had to relocate to a different place that I can really get sound mind to rethink and then look for another job.
Now the responsibility of looking after her 10-year-old son, paying her rent and putting food on their table on a daily basis has become a daunting task for her. Her son has now been sent to her parents in the village while she returns to her roots, Kisii, where she hopes life might be a bit better for her. Mensma tells me she nearly started giving herself to men in order to survive, hence her decision to move from Accra to Kisii.
My rent was due and I had no one to help me to pay to, so you know, I'm a woman, and some of these things it tend to lead you to wayward life, like what do you call it, slave queen. You can decide to be a slave queen just to earn a living, going from one man to another. I had it in mind to do that, but upon second thoughts, I realized that home is home. I can easily go home and then sit down to and rethink about my life and see which one best suits.
Mensma is not alone in this. There are countless number of people you meet on the street today who've been dealt very hefty blows by COVID-19 and are unable to make ends meet. They've lost virtually everything to the pandemic and are finding alternative ways of surviving. Richard Kwejonya-Akon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
This is your election headquarters. 91 days to the elections. Forgive me for my earlier slip. But the opposition National Democratic Congress will later today present its 2020 manifesto to the people of Ghana as it hopes to stage a comeback after losing power to the NPP in 2016. The official outdooring of the party's programs and policies is expected to cut through a wide scope of issues to inform the choice of electorates in the December polls. Key amongst those policies expected to be announced, the Agenda 1 million jobs, the Big Push, and Operation Sting. Manuel Cranting has more in the following report.
Useful lesson, and I'm coming back to you together with my party, the NDC, with what will be a practicable strategy for laying a solid foundation for the transformation of our country.
16 days after the launch of the NPP's manifesto, the biggest opposition party, National Democratic Congress, will finally outdoor its manifesto today. This is after postponing its earlier August 31 date. The party's National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfi, has been rejecting claims that the launch of the manifesto was deliberately delayed for the purposes of copying from the ruling party.
We are within the party's 2020 campaign timetable, so it hasn't taken long at all. What needs to be done must be done well. Okay, we don't want to bring a manifesto which will be full of palpable falsehood, a manifesto which will be full of promises which simply don't make sense, like you saw in the NPP's 2020 manifesto.
From extension of the 3-month maternity leave to 4, cancellation of double track in senior high schools, to payment of customers of collapsed financial institutions, Joy News checks reveal over 20 major promises have been made so far by the flag bearer of the party. On infrastructure, the party is proposing what it calls the Big Push.
It's going to be an injection of $10 billion to dualize our roads, to complete the 200 senior secondary schools, to finish all the hospitals that we were building.
The NDC will also legalize the commercial use of motorbikes as a means of public transport.
But Okada is a reality. It has come to stay. You can't stop it. That's what I have suggested. And I say when we come into office, we'll legalize Okada, but we'll regulate it. We'll regulate it and we'll give them training so that they are able to do their business in a safe manner without causing the lives of people. They must obey all the traffic regulations in order that they be allowed to pursue their profession.
John Mahama and the NDC have promised free primary health care under a one-time premium. They will also scrap corporate income tax for small-scale businesses. The party looks to mount an anti-corruption crusade under the code name Operation Sting.
Manuel Cranting with that report. Now, this is your election headquarters, and we'll be bringing you live coverage of the NDC's manifesto launch from the University of Professional Studies. Deputy Head of our political desk, Winston Amma, joins me for more. Winston, live on television, live on radio, and online as well. What should we expect from your desk?
Well, you should expect a lot, Bernice. We covered the NPP's manifesto launch extensively. You actually saw us even covering the introduction of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. So today, we're continuing on that trend, and you can trust us with in-depth analysis. We'll be starting off at 4 p.m. exactly, and we'll be telling you some of the things to expect in the NDC's manifesto. Now, JoyNews has counted about over 20 promises so far, from increasing maternity leave from 3 to 4 months, abolishing double track system that comes in the review of free SHS Operation Sting, the big push, $10 billion, for infrastructure development. We'll be looking at all of these things. And then we'll cross over to the venue, bring you, some live updates from the venue, even before the start of the program. But one other thing also is that we've been talking about manifestos. This is a manifesto launch. We want to look at the importance of manifestos. And for the NDC, the 2012 manifesto was what they won the last elections with. They lost election 2016. So what are some of the highlights of the 2012 manifesto? Imani will be joining us. We'll be doing a bit of analysis of that. Also looking to the 2016 manifesto and then projecting to 2020 manifesto. Are we going to see some of the things that the NDC promised in 2016 still in the 2020 manifesto, and what would that mean for the party's chances? Then after that, you can trust us with in-depth post-event analysis. And finally, what to expect when it comes to the Greater Accra region. Why did the NDC choose Greater Accra? And why is Greater Accra important in this year's election?
I'll come back to find out more about the event from you, but let's hear from our audience. We went out to find out from some of you what you'd expect.
I'm here at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, trying to gauge the mood of the citizens ahead of the official launch of the manifesto. What are the expectations really, and will these expectations be met by the NDC's manifesto? So I'm going to try to speak to a few people. Thank you so much for speaking to me. What really are your expectations of the NDC's manifesto?
NDC has nothing to give us. NDC has nothing. Because since their 8 years that has passed by, I have not even seen what NDC have done that Ghanaians are happy about it. So as for me, I don't have any good expectation that NDC is bringing out to Ghanaians. But Ghanaians will be happy about their manifesto.
But they say they're going to.
Aside from that, why Okada? They have to request for something better in life more than everybody can buy Okada and hire someone to work with Okada. How Okada? He has to bring new things that people will enjoy and like it. More than this Okada, they are making noise in all over the place. People are Okada. What's Okada?
Okay, if they will realize their mistakes and then correct their mistakes, I think it will be better than accusing the current, sitting president. And for that one, I disagree with them. If you want to move forward, you correct your mistakes. So use your past to correct your current mistake. Present life. So if I've been, I've done a lot of mistakes previously for the past. I have to sit down, work it out, and when I want to come to power. Then I know that I've corrected my mistakes, and coming forward, then I know that these are the things that I have to put in place.
I'm expecting them to just come back to tell us the truth, as in what they did not or they were not able to do before. They are supposed to come and tell us, be able to also convince us that if we trust them or we believe in them, we'll be able to, or they'll be able to get or do whatever we want to do. They promised, especially we the youth, jobs. So we are expecting that when they come, they'll be able to give us the jobs that we need.
Yes.
Well, we're bringing you more on that election brief at 1:30. But Winston, it's interesting that from the people we've heard from so far, they seem to agree with Otumfuo Osei-Tutu, who advised the former president when he went to introduce his running mate to him. He said, look, tell the people what you did wrong and tell them how you're going to do it. So, well, it may be too late to include that in your manifesto, but the NDC, if you are watching us, the people want to hear that, at least an admission of something you did wrong, so you can choose how to communicate that to them.
Dennis, the interesting thing about this year's election is that this would be the third and final time that Nana Akufo-Addo and John Mahama would meet in an election, because whoever wins cannot come back again.
Term. Yeah.
And they both have 4 years to account for. So this is an election that is going to be based on records. And once you've been president before, there are things you might have done right, things you might have done wrong. So when you're campaigning based on the things you've done and based on the things you didn't do and the things you believe you can do. We live to see.
Yeah, definitely. So what time should we join you and the team?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. right here on the Joy News channel. Wednesday won't be alone. We've got Evans Mensah, MFR Pau and Daniel Dadzi. So do join the team for now.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Rabbit farmers in the Ashanti region are switching to poultry production after about 10,000 rabbits were killed by the rabbit hemorrhagic disease. Now, though health authorities rule out animal-to-human transmission, they warn it threatens the rabbit industry, especially government's Rearing for Food and Jobs program. Veterinary health authorities say it is a threat to food security. Prince Apia has more in this report.
40-year-old farmer Safford Johnson has been rearing rabbits since 2013 at Pechi No. 2 close to Kumasi. He had high expectations for his 350 rabbits, but has lost all of them to the rabbit hemorrhagic disease.
Within 4 days, over 300, almost 400.
During the period, I buried 2 sacks of rabbits every morning. Within 4 days, I lost over 300 rabbits. Only 2 rabbits remained. They died one after the other mysteriously.
Ashanti is the hardest hit. George Abuaje is another rabbit farmer that has been badly affected.
I've lost everything. And the example, you can see the cages. There is nothing in it. I was having 150 to 200 rabbits.
The regional front of the rabbit farmers say the situation presents a major threat to food security.
For here in Pechi No. 2, we've lost more than 3,000 rabbits. And in the Ashanti region, it's more than 10,000. So in general, I'm saying the total number of rabbits lost in the country is more than 20,000. The government should come in and assist us with some amount of money so we can reinvest in the business once again.
The rabbit hemorrhagic disease has become a veterinary worry worldwide since last year. It is a highly contagious viral disease of rabbits. It doesn't present any major symptoms, but initiates sudden swift death to the animals. Veterinary Services in the Ashanti region is worried. Dr. Pachika Ponsa is a veterinary laboratory technician.
It's a very fatal disease with mortality rate of about 100%. When I say mortality rate, I mean that you can wake up one day and then your entire rabbitry is gone. If routinely you are disinfecting your farm, what you are in effect doing is you are reducing the viral burden on your farm.
Dr. Amponsa is asking farmers to hold on to rearing rabbits until vaccines are found.
We've advised the farmers that have lost their animals not to reintroduce new stock. They should wait for the go-ahead. Some of them have gone ahead of us and then restocked their farm. The vaccine is not in, you have restocked it. We don't know whether you have done proper disinfection. Plans are far advanced in procuring the vaccine into the country. But then, rabbit hemorrhagic disease virus is not zoonotic. So they shouldn't be scared. They should go on taking their rabbit delicacies.
Farmers in the Amansia West district have started switching to poultry farming as a result.
What we are doing is to encourage members to help contribute so that we'll be able to raise that 35,000 Ghana cedis that the importer is demanding. Farmers are also of the view that now we've lost virtually all our investments. You are telling us to pay half of the money. Where are we going to raise the money from? We are entreating with the government to come to our aid at least the 7 cedi can maybe be reduced.
In the interim, officials are advising farmers to adhere to biosecurity protocols. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, as of the end of the first week of September, more than 150,000 applicants have so far received their funds from the Coronavirus Alleviation Business Program administered by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI. According to the Executive Director, Kosiyanki Aye, every sector of the economy that has been affected as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic has received support through the program, which was launched in March this year. She told Joy Business disbursement is still ongoing due to the large number of applications received.
There are two types of loans. There's the ADOM and an Indaswo. The ADOM was looking at the micro segment, those who applied up to 2,000. And then from 2,000 upwards was the Enidaswo segment. Disbursement has started for both of them, and we have over 150,000 applicants who have benefited from the micro, small and medium enterprises loans through the CAPBAS program as we speak today. In all sectors, in all regions in Ghana and in every district in Ghana, there's a beneficiary in one of those districts and regions. There's still funding. If you are aware, the government also raised an extra in the mid-year review. The Minister of Finance increased the budget by 150 million Ghana cedis to provide support and relief to various sectors. And those funds are also available to support and provide relief to as many other businesses as possible. Yes, so a lot of people are going to smile, and that's what we are working on as much as possible to ensure that beneficiaries receive the funding. As we had mentioned in the beginning, a lot of the funds also went through for the NIDASO through the participating financial institutions. To date, we have called some of the beneficiaries to go to the participating financial institutions, or the participating financial institutions have called them to come to the facility to actually work on the processing. Some have shown up, some haven't, some are also in the process of being called. And all of that is ongoing as we speak, so that we provide relief to as many MSMEs as possible.
And that's your business update. Sports is up next.